So from silver back to gold with some copper. So K92, in case anyone can't figure it out, and it took me about 3 months to figure out when I joined the company, K92 is a Canadian version of K92. It's the accent. So K92 is just K92. The usual forward-looking statement that I'm sure everyone has read by now. So K92 mining. What's different or what's special about our company? Well, we've got a very high-grade mine, the K92 mine, 12 gram per ton gold equivalent, and at this point in time, as of this morning, with our latest update and resource, it's now sitting at about 3 million ounces of gold. Current production rate we're achieving is 50,000 ounces per annum, and our Q1 results showed us producing at just over $550 an ounce cash cost, $740 an ounce all-up cost. That was our first quarter of commercial production, where we were achieving around 80 to 85% of that 50,000 ounce a year figure. Short-term growth, we've completed a PEA on an expansion to basically double the throughput of the operation, increasing production to about 110,000 ounces per annum. And that was based on the existing Cora resource. We've now just recently updated the Cora North resource as of this morning. And in fact, the focus of an updated PEA will be initially on developing that as opposed to the known Cora resource as it was. Capital to do this expansion, $15 million, 1.5. So payback is about 6 months. Medium-term growth, we've got an underground exploration program which is targeting a 5 million ounce resource by mid-2019, with a feasibility study on that expansion due by the end of 2019. And then we have a very substantial land package with multiple porphyry and high-grade vein targets. So PNG, where are we? K92 was sitting in here. So basically we're about 200 kilometers up Sealed Road from Lae, which is the second largest city in PNG and a major port. So that's where we produce a concentrate. Our concentrate is all exported from Lae, and most of our supplies come in through that port as well. So there's a sealed road coming through here, and then the road into the mine, plant and offices and camp in our LMP 78, and then the mining lease through here. So this is in a very large valley. It's the largest valley in PNG, so we're in a very flat area. It's over 20 kilometers across there. We get our grid power from the Yonki Dam here. It's a hydroelectric scheme into the mine. Plus, of course, we have full standby power. In terms of the resource, when we took over the project and acquired it from Barrick, we had 1.65 million ounces of resource in Cora, which is the deposit that we're focused on right now, and a further 400,000 ounces at Aruma Fimpa. We've subsequently added to that some 900,000 ounces. So, long section. Basically, we're an underground mine, but unlike many underground mines, we actually go up into the mine. So we've got incline coming up here. This was the original Aruma Fimpa operation. This was the Cora deposit, which had been defined by Barrick's drilling, the 1.65 million ounces. And we had an interpretation that basically said that this Cora deposit actually would fill in all of this space around here, which has no resource in it, we believe, because there was no drilling. So we drilled our first hole looking for this, KMDD 0009, 180 meters in. We hit over 5 meters, running at over 11 grams per ton, 25 grams per ton silver, 1.3% copper, and quite classically Cora ore. Aruma Fimpa is a low temperature, low pressure system, so the gold here sits basically as tellurides. Cora, higher temperature, higher pressure system, probably mid-sulfidation. And so we're sitting with about 2% copper and about 7 to 8 grams per ton. And as you can see, that's pretty much what we hit with our first hole. So we immediately started developing into that area. We took a bulk sample out from from Cora, from that area. In October 2017, 4,000 tons, put it through the plant. We achieved about 92% copper and gold recovery, and we continued development on that vein to the point where we actually declared commercial production on the Cora vein in 1st of February 2018. And as I said, our first quarter, 9,700 ounces at a cash cost, $550 an ounce gold equivalent. Identified now 2 veins, K1 and K2. K2 vein was the initial vein we went out to develop. We've mined that to date at 7 grams per ton, 1% copper. And then the K1 vein, which initially showed at 3 grams per ton, has averaged to date around 25 grams per ton and about 0.4% copper. So in March, the very beginning of March, we announced our first resource at Cora North, which was 320,000 tons at 15 grams per ton, 160,000 ounces. So that was in addition to the 1.65 million in the main Cora deposit. We awarded a contract to install a gravity circuit and a flotation upgrade design during that first quarter as well. The Aruma-Fimpa ore body, none of the gold is gravity recoverable. It's all, as I said, telluride, whereas at Cora, about 65% of the gold is gravity recoverable. So although we're running currently at about 93% recovery of gold, installation of a gravity circuit should allow us to improve that by about 2 percentage points. We've been increasing our underground fleet, and we have recorded 0 lost time injuries for basically the last 2 years of operation. So we employ 500 people, of which 26 are expats, the rest are all locals. We've got extensive training in place for those people, and part of the outcome of that has been a very good lost time. So, original hole drilled through here, development of the K2 load, and then the K1 load, which the grade kicked in almost about 5 meters away from where we'd actually gone the crosscut. So over about 300 meters, that's averaged about 25 grams per ton. This one has averaged 7 grams per ton, 1% copper. We're currently doing cut and fill stoping here, 100 meters on either side, and 1, 2, 3 sets of cut and fill stoping. This development is now out here, and we're continuing along here, and we've got a 4th crosscut coming in further along there. One of the things we've found as we've moved further south is that our grades have actually increased. So we put in drill cuddies approximately every 125 meters. So first drill cuddy, second drill cuddy. That resource that I noted was basically covering just these first 2 drill cuddies. The third drill cuddy that we put in, what we've seen is that the K2 vein is now kicked up 3.6 meters at 32.5 and 2.6% copper, 4 at 7, 6 and almost 2% copper, 5 at 9.8 and 3% copper, 8 at 8 and 2% copper, and then 6.85 at 11.7 and 3.6. So the average value of that K2 has now gone up over 50% in terms of gold and over 100% in terms of our copper, while the K1 has retained the same sort of grades that we were seeing. We started doing some exploration holes, so longer holes to look to expand our resource beyond just the grade control drilling that we've been doing. And as you can see, we've been picking up some equivalent sort of grades from all of our exploration. And the exploration holes shown here, basically there's the original resource that we defined over an area of 300 meters by 150. And drilling out with our exploration holes to take it to about 600 by 400. And third grade control drill cuddy sitting in here, also drilling along strike there. This is the interpretation of the vein system of Cora, Utompi, and then Aruma-Fimpa sitting in there. So that initial exploration program, 12 holes, 3,000 meters. Our target for that area is 1.2 million ounces, 600,000 ounces of gold equivalent in the K2 vein, and 600,000 in K1. K2 vein, the whole 600 by 400, while K1 was only 450 by 250, and that's simply that you're drilling your drilling cuddies are closer to K1, and therefore you don't get the same expansion of your drills. Potential link up of Cora and Cora North, and then looking at grade control continuing to cover an area approximately 500 meters by 150. So that's what I was telling you 3-4 months ago. Our target was 1.2 million, and that target, we're looking at that resource update around August. But we have just reported an interim update, and that interim update was measured and indicated 320,000 ounces at 14.5 grams per ton gold equivalent, and a further 571,000 ounces at 15.2. So cumulatively, just under 900,000 ounces as an interim towards that 1.2. The two loads, the K1, the K2 load along strike, as you can see, 1, 2, 3 drill cuddies, looking at an isometric view. That area is approximately 400 meters long by up to 300 meters wide. So it constitutes that area you can see in here. So that's our updated resource of basically 900,000 ounces. And if I put around it our target area that we're still drilling for the 1.2 million ounces, you can see that we're sort of reasonably confident we're going to get at least 1.2 million ounces in that area. So Cora we've seen very much as 3 stages. The first stage was to get us to the 50,000 ounces, which is where we are right now. The second stage was that expansion to 400,000 tons per annum and about 110,000 ounces, which part of that was to get the Cora North resource up to plus 1 million ounces. We've actually got up to 900,000, and I think we're well on track to getting it beyond the 1.2 that we originally had as a target. We'll update the PEA, so the updated resource is August, updated PEA in September, and we expect that one to be significantly better than the current PEA, which basically had an NPV of plus 300 million and over 500 million in cash flow. We expect to pretty much double that in the PEA. The third phase was the drilling out of the balance of the project within our mining lease, where our target is 5 million ounces, and I'd point out that the area that has 900,000 ounces in it constitutes approximately 10% of the area that we're drilling out. So we think 5 million ounces is a reasonable sort of target. When I wrote this, our current resource for Cora was 1.65 million and the 160,000. Now, of course, that resource has gone up to over 2.5 million. So we've taken the resource from 160,000 ounces at the beginning of March to 900,000 ounces as of today in under 3 months. Feasibility study on that bigger expansion to be completed in 2019. That's what the project, the expansion project looked like. Basically, a cash flow of 558 million over a 10-year period, with an initial capital cost, as I said, of only 15 million. We're actually looking at making a decision to go forward with that expansion formally in the next quarter, and looking to hit those numbers around the middle of next year. There's then the further drilling of 12,000 meters of drilling to fill in the gap, which is where we get our 5 million ounces from. So our guidance that we recently issued in terms of 2018 was 42 to 46,000 ounces, cash cost between 530 and 560 per ounce, and all-in sustaining 720 to 780. We're looking installation of the gravity circuit and new cleaner section in the September quarter, and to commence that expansion to 400,000 tons plus 100,000 ounces of gold a year. Complete that initial resource update, which we've done the first phase of that today, and then commence an extended exploration program aimed at extending the known Cora within the mining lease. I'd make the point that it's about 1 kilometre long and 1 kilometre deep, and it's known to extend for 1 kilometre outside of our mining lease, and that is in our exploration ground, and we're planning on starting drilling along that extension towards the end of this year. commence drilling on high priority porphyry targets. We've actually started drilling our first porphyry, and to continue focus on our safety and achieving zero lost time. There's our shares, etc., that we have on issue. We've got 179 million shares on issue. Share price around 93, 94, so market cap around 165 million. Fully diluted 230 million. Very briefly on exploration. When Barrick bought this property from Highlands, they didn't buy it for the mine, they bought it for the porphyries. There are about a dozen known porphyries within our package of ground. The major high ones are A1, Headwater, Blue Lake, and Yompasa. Blue Lake is one that we actually found in our season last year. A1 is considered to be the source of the mineralization for Cora. And then Yompasa was drilled by BHP a couple of holes some 20, 30 years ago with some reasonably good results, so we've actually started drilling that one first. In terms of the A1 Headwater, that really sort of shows why Barrick felt it was their best target. It was seen to be the source of all this mineralization. Maniape Arakompa historical resource of 1.6 million ounces. Southern, as I said, we've started drilling at Yompasa just this month, so we hope to have some results out in that in the coming months. And then Blue Lake, strange enough, it's blue not because it's reflecting the sky. That's has a little bit of copper in it. This we consider our number one target. We're doing some surface work on it this season, and we expect to start drilling it either late this season or early next season. But as you can see, some extremely good results have been we've achieved to date. On that, I will say thank. Oh, sorry, I've got 2 minutes. Oh no, you're behind. You're behind. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, John. Really appreciate it.